Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Parikshit Luthra. Here are the headlines we are tracking this evening. Dalal Street declines for the third week in a row for the first time in 5 months. Hawkish commentary and earnings weigh on the market. Sensex and Nifty end at a one-week low. HCLTech shares soar in trade after it bags a $2.1 billion order from Verizon to manage their business. The management stands by FY24 revenue and margin guidance. LIC Chairman Siddharth Mohanty says that he sees the trend of positive growth to continue despite lower than expected first quarter earnings. Says they see margins in the range of 20 to 22% in 4 to 5 years against current level of nearly 14%. The government is likely to expand the third phase of the FAME subsidy scheme for electric vehicles after the current scheme expires in March next year. Sources say the outlay for FAME 3 could be more than 40,000 crore rupees. That's an exclusive. Linda Yasserino, the first CEO of Twitter under Elon Musk, says she has complete autonomy to run the business. Also adds that she is partnering Musk to transform Twitter into X, which aims to be an everything app that allows payment processing, video calls, among other things. That's a CNBC exclusive. Monsoon session of Parliament comes to an end. Both houses of Parliament adjourned sine die. The Lok Sabha saw 45% productivity. Rajya Sabha productivity was slightly better at 56%. 26 bills were introduced in Parliament. 14 bills were passed by the Parliament. The government tables a bill to overhaul criminal laws, repeals a clause that deals with sedition, but punishes endangering unity and integrity of India even by electronic communication or by use of financial means with life imprisonment or a 7-year term. The new bill also categorizes mob lynching as murder. Bombay High Court pulls up civic authorities in Mumbai over bad roads and potholes, admonishes municipal commissioners who promise to make Mumbai pothole-free within 3 years. Let's start with the market action. Hawkish commentary from RBI and earnings continue to weigh on Dalal Street. Sensex and Nifty ended the day and the week in the red. This is the third straight week of losses for the stock markets, marking the worst losing streak in the last 5 months. Mid-cap index ended Friday in the red, but for the week, mid-caps managed to end with marginal gains, outperforming the blue chips. To the currency market now, the Indian rupee erased all gains from the previous session, tracking its Asian peers. This as the dollar strengthened amid hopes of no more US Fed rate hikes after data showed US consumer prices increased moderately in July. Now to commodity news. Sugar prices surged amid global production shifts and supply concerns. This as Thailand and other major producers in Asia grapple with substantial reduction in sugar crops. Furthermore, the International Sugar Organization has forecast a deficit in sugar production for the year 2023-24. Back home in India, the government maintains that sugar stocks are sufficient as of now. Moving on to the energy space, where oil prices fall marginally after rallying this week. This as investors weighed optimistic demand forecasts from the OPEC producer group against mixed economic data in top importer China. Moving on to the big corporate story of the day, HCLTech shares soared in trade today after it bagged a $2.1 billion order from Verizon to manage their business customers. The 6-year contract can add over 1% to the IT major's yearly revenue beginning November this year. Rima Tendulkar joins us with the details. Rima.
Thanks so much for that. So HCLTech has won a mega deal. It's a $2.1 billion deal from Verizon. It's a net new deal and it will be spread over 6 years starting from November of 2023. If you do a simplistic calculation, that's $2.1 billion divided by 6 years, then you come to an annual revenue figure of about $350 million, assuming a linear execution. Though the ramp-up schedules do differ, but on an average, it can, on an annual basis, add about 1.3% to the FY24, FY25 revenues. This provides the street a lot of comfort in the company inching closer to achieving its full year guidance of 6 to 8%. Morgan Stanley's overweight on HCLTech. They say such deals should lower the perceived risk of a potential revenue guidance cut at the lower end. With this announcement, they expect some of the underperformance to reverse. So after, in HCLTech's case, the Q1 numbers were very weak. So the street was fearing that the company will lower the full year guidance, because after such a weak start to the year, they thought it's not even possible for the company to achieve 6%. That's the lower end of the guidance. With this deal, there is some comfort in the company achieving that. JP Morgan, though, believes that this deal could be margin dilutive. Back to you.
Absolutely. Delighted to share that, yes, it is HCLTech's largest services deal and thereby a significant milestone in our services journey. When does it start? It starts from November of 2023. And then, yes, it goes on from there 6+ years. And specifically in terms of revenues, every year, of course, is a little varying. But at the same time, we specifically, the revenue for this financial year is something, it will be aligned to the market guidance that we have already provided most recently.
ITC's Chairman and Managing Director Sanjeev Puri addressed shareholders at the company's 112th AGM today. He said that the demerger of ITC's hotel business will sharpen capital allocation. He said that continued interest of ITC in the demerged entity will provide long-term stability and instill a sense of assurance among partners, investors and employees.
The continued interest of ITC in the new entity will provide long-term stability and instill a sense of assurance amongst partners, investors and employees, while enabling the new entity to leverage ITC's institutional strengths, including the timeless goodwill, world-class brands and governance processes. For ITC, the reorganization will sharpen capital allocation, improve asset efficiency ratios and unlock value for its shareholders, as well as enable leveraging of institutional synergies.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has called for serious efforts led by rich countries to restructure debt in vulnerable economies. Speaking virtually at a G20 session, the Finance Minister said multilateral development banks are not equipped enough to address demands to expand their lending operations beyond the core development mandates. She further said that the Indian G20 presidency is focusing on strengthening multilateral development banks. The Lok Sabha has passed amendments to central integrated GST laws to levy 28% tax on the full face value of bets in e-gaming, casinos and horse racing. The bills were introduced by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in the Lok Sabha and passed by a voice vote without a debate. States will now get the amendments passed in the state GST laws in their respective assemblies. Google will not remove applications of the startups that have challenged its in-app billing policy from its Play Store till August 18th. The tech giant informed the Madras High Court of this as it heard the startups' petition challenging an order dismissing their pleas. The court, which issued a notice to Google, will hear the startups' pleas for interim orders on the 18th of August. Air India is getting a makeover. That's right, the Tata Group-owned airline revealed its new brand identity, which includes a new logo called the Vista, inspired by the gold window frames of aircrafts. The new livery and design features a deep red, aubergine, gold highlights and a chakra-inspired pattern. Travellers will see the new design starting December 2023 when Air India's first Airbus A350 enters the fleet. The airline CEO Campbell Wilson said the iconic mascot, Maharaja, will live on but in a different manner. Tata Sons Chairman N. Chandrasekaran said the new Air India reflects new resurgent India.
Our aim and job is to make this airline a truly world-class and iconic airline that every Indian will be proud of. Today is a very important milestone because the new Air India, the vision we have for the airline is also in the backdrop of a new resurgent India.
The rumours of his demise have been greatly exaggerated. The Maharaja will live on. Close to home, he'll remain our beloved, slightly portly ambassador of hospitality. Farther afield, he will signify a class and an elegance while drawing a unique thread from Air India's past into its future.
From aviation to automobiles, the Union government is likely to continue supporting the electric vehicles with subsidies. Sources say that the first draft of the third tranche of The FAME scheme, which proposes an outlay of 40,000 to 50,000 crore rupees, is ready, and the focus may also cover quadricycles, electric cycles, electric trucks, in addition to electric cars, two-wheelers, three-wheelers and buses. We are learning from our sources that there will be a substantial outlay for electric buses, that is public transport and electric charging infrastructure across the country. Now, both demand and supply side incentives are being worked upon. So on one side, there will be demand side incentives through the FAME scheme, and then you're looking at new PLI schemes that the government is working on as well. Now, this will be a PLI scheme for components of electric vehicle batteries like electrolytes, separators, cathode, anode. There will also be a scheme for niche battery technologies to cover what may happen in future when it comes to electric vehicle batteries. Now, all of this is currently in the works. It'll have to be approved by the Finance Ministry, the Prime Minister's office, and then cleared by the Cabinet as well. But we believe that the government is very keen to end the uncertainty, and in the next few weeks, we could hear of either a government intention to support the EV ecosystem till 2030, or at least some sort of roadmap may emerge. So let's keep track of that story for our viewers here on CNBC. Let's move on and stay with the EV space. Ather Energy has launched the 450S at a starting price of nearly 1,30,000 rupees. The new scooter is equipped with new safety and performance features that will also be added to the existing model 450X. Speaking to CNBC-TV18 on the sidelines of the launch, Tarun Mehta, the co-founder and CEO of the company, said that many EV companies couldn't qualify for the government's PLI scheme and hopes the government will tweak the scheme soon. Let's listen in.
In the coming few quarters, you will also see us launch a complete new product. We're working on at least 2 more products, but I think a lot of very good companies could not just qualify because the definitions were left some gaps. So, for example, Ather, which has been the largest investor in R&D for electric two-wheelers now in the world, just couldn't meet the timing definitions. So we are hoping in the coming months and year, we'll see some hopefully good tweaks, because a lot of the investment can be accelerated if companies like ourselves can qualify for PLI.
Moving on to an exclusive, Linda Yassurino, the new CEO of X, formerly Twitter, has clarified that Elon Musk and her roles at the company are clear, and that she has the autonomy to run the company. Twitter has seen many advertisers exit the platform after a reported rise in hate speech since Elon Musk's takeover. And the new CEO claims that the social media platform is much safer than what it was a year ago, as it was introducing new safety tools. And you can catch that entire conversation at 7:30 p.m. right here on CNBC-TV18. And it's time for a break. Up next, monsoon session of Parliament comes to an end. Both houses of Parliament adjourned sine die. But how productive was the session? Details when we are back. Top national story now. A stormy monsoon session of Parliament dominated by opposition protests over Manipur violence has drawn to a close. On the penultimate day, the government defeated a no-confidence motion moved by opposition parties. So how productive was this session? According to PRS legislative research, Lok Sabha's productivity stood at 45% and Rajya Sabha was at 56%. A total of 25 new bills were introduced, of which 22 bills were passed in the Lok Sabha. In today's session, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman put forth the Central Goods and Services Tax Amendment Bill and the Integrated Goods and Services Tax Amendment Bill. Both these bills were passed in the Lok Sabha without any debate after the opposition walked out.
20 बिल लोकसभा में इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ, 5 बिल राज्यसभा में इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ और 22 बिल्स लोकसभा में पारित हुआ, 25 बिल्स राज्यसभा में पारित हुआ. The opposition, for the political reasons, they did not participate in the discussion. Only in one bill. They participated in the discussion.
अगर इस देश में हिंसा हो रही है, दर्द हो रहा है, हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री को 2 घंटे मजाक नहीं उड़ाना चाहिए। विषय कांग्रेस नहीं था, विषय मैं नहीं था, विषय मणिपुर है। भाषण नरेंद्र मोदी जी के बारे में था। वो अपनी राय, अपनी राजनीति, अपने एम्बिशंस वो आपको दे रहे थे। सवाल ये नहीं है कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी 24 में प्रधानमंत्री बनेंगे या नहीं, सवाल ये है कि मणिपुर जल रहा है।
All right, let's move on now. The government has tabled a bill to overhaul criminal laws, repeals the clause which deals with sedition, but punishes endangering unity and integrity of India, even by electronic communication or by use of financial means, with life imprisonment or a 7-year term. Ashmit Kumar joins us now. Ashmit, important changes there. Give us a sense of what really changes in terms of the way the IPC, the CRPC and the Indian Evidence Act used to function.
Well, to begin with, the names have simply changed and the names are dramatically different. As the Indian Penal Code turns into the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the CRPC turns into Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, and the Indian Evidence Act turns into Bharatiya Sakshay. This is the new nomenclature. The rationale that was given by Amit Shah before presenting it in the Parliament is that these laws, the Indian Penal Code, the CRPC, the Indian Evidence Act, is representative of a colonial heritage. In fact, the IPC goes all the way back to 1860, that there was urgent need felt over 7 decades of our own Indian experience to reform the criminal justice system. And to that end, there is an entire overhaul in the works for the criminal justice system as far as it is concerned. These are 3 critical laws sought to be overhauled. Now, what are these changes that constitute this overhaul? Well, to begin with, sedition. This was one contentious provision. This was, in fact, also challenged before the top court. It is still pending challenge. That has been done away with. There are, of course, criticisms that it has been retained in some shape or form as a part of Clause 152, but nonetheless, the broad sedition, the way it stood under the IPC, has been done away with. Section 150, of course, requiring some debate. Going forward, some of the changes that we are seeing, mob lynching as well as rape of minors now will fetch a maximum sentence of 7 years. So that has been included, that has been incorporated as a part of this. Interestingly, there is also a feature to bring in community service as one of the punishments for petty crimes. Going forward, some of the additions that we are seeing, additions to the earlier version of the penal code, acts such as secession, armed rebellion, subversive activities, separatist activities, or endangering the sovereignty or unity or integrity of the country. These are new offences that have been introduced as a part of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, or the act that will be replacing the IPC. So clearly, an overhaul of the criminal justice system. We'll, of course, have to deliberate on the fine print of all these 3 bills. Back to you.
इनका बड़ा शोर मचा है, हमने उसको केयरफुली करा है। मॉब लिंचिंग के लिए भी 7 साल आजीवन कारावास और मृत्युदंड तीनों का प्रोविजन कर हम प्रावधान मानने वाला है।
Yes, and it's important to point out that these bills will now go to a standing committee and will be examined by the committee. But important changes nevertheless. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Business 360. We leave you with a sneak peek into the 3rd episode of Changing India, which airs at 7:30 p.m. on Monday. Thanks for watching.
नमस्कार साथियों, मेरा नाम हेमलता है। मैं फ्रीडम सामुदायिक रिपोर्टर हूँ। मेरी निगम पार्षद से यही प्रार्थना है कि जल्द से जल्द हमारी नालियों को साफ करवाया जाए।
These girls from Tajpur Pahadi now run many podcasts, including मोहल्ले की बातें, where they speak about the issues of their community. Also, ज़्यादा बोलने वाली औरतें, which sheds light on the patriarchal practices in their own households.
और लव इज पार्ट ऑफ लाइफ, जिसमें हम अपने मन की बात की फीलिंग शेयर कर सकते हैं। और ज़रूरी जानकारी, जिसमें हम अपने एरिया के इम्पोर्टेंट इन्फॉर्मेशंस के बारे में बताते हैं। मोहल्ले की